everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Fumble Live. We're talking about the Rockets, how they ended their 20-game losing streak last night, which I think was a very joyous moment for Stephen Silas. We're also talking about Kyrie Irving and how he is missing an upcoming game. And then finally, we are getting into Kawhi and how he just made a pretty big purchase. But before we do all that, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JerryTheFanatic.
Jackie.
Oh, I almost forgot. Guess what day it is? It's not my fault, you guys. We were talking about cauliflower so much before the show started. I totally forgot. But it's, what day is it, Devin? It's
Taco Tuesday. I know. I was like, I'm going to wait a beat. I'm going to see if she remembers. I even said Happy Tuesday at the top of the show, I'm pretty sure, hoping to trigger something.
I was so stuck on cauliflower. I was like, oh, cauliflower chicken, cauliflower this. I was stuck.
We did do a lot of talking about cauliflower before we went live, you guys. We were talking about cauliflower pasta, buffalo cauliflower. So if you've had any of that, let us know in the chat, because some of us are divided as to whether or not we really like it or not. I happen to love all the cauliflower alternatives, but I know not everybody thinks it's that good. Buffalo cauliflower is worth a shot, though. So if any of you have an opportunity to try it, go ahead. You know what? I'm actually probably going to have cauliflower tacos tonight. So there's another cauliflower situation happening. And I'll report back tomorrow and let you guys know how those are. Let's jump into our first little update here. So the Rockets ended their 20-game losing streak last night. The final score in their game against the Raptors was 117-99. Yesterday, you guys might remember in the post-up, Jackie showed us that post-game interview with Stephen Silas, where they asked him if he was feeling the weight of the team's losing streak, and he took that big, long, heavy pause and just went, yeah. And it was so sad. It was so pathetic. Like, it hurt my soul to watch that, because you could really just feel that he was upset about it. And I don't blame him. A 20-game losing streak is a franchise record for the Rockets, and it has to be very disheartening and discouraging to go in night after night after night and walk away with the loss. So I'm happy for them that they were able to power through yesterday and secure the win. That's a very exciting moment for them and much needed for the team's morale, I'm sure. Over the last 24 hours, there were several current and former NBA coaches who had reached out to Stephen Silas to offer their words of encouragement and support, because they probably all saw that interview as well, and they were like, damn, he is really feeling it. And it actually seemed like it helped, because the team was able to pull through, and they had the victory. And then after the game, John Wall said that Silas came up and hugged him and told him that he loved him. So things are looking good for the Rockets, at least based on last night. Jackie, what was your reaction to their win?
It's just one step. I've definitely felt so bad for Coach yesterday. We talked about that. But this is kind of what I said. Right after James Harden left, I was like, okay, got to expect the bottom to fall out. I don't think any of us expected the bottom to fall out to the tune of 20 games. But, I think we all expected it to not look as well, because there's a lot. And I definitely don't think Coach Silas needs to take the brunt of that blame. John Wall was out for a little bit with another injury, and I'm sure that scared everybody, because now you have to start thinking, is this one of those situations where our main guy who suffered this big injury before, like, are we on this injury path now? So there's a lot that's going on in Houston that I just don't think Coach can really take on his shoulders. But nonetheless, we know that how this train goes. We know that it usually does fall. Somebody has to be the scapegoat. But I'm going to still stick to what I said before, that I think Coach and everybody just needs to kind of take this one on the chin. And it's not about this 20-game losing. It's about how you can build from here. What pieces are not working that you need to really talk about getting rid of? What pieces are working? What are some things that you see that are going well? What are things that you see are going bad? Because you had to know that this season was going to be a wash. And again, I don't think you expected it to be like wash with bleach in the wash where you just screwed everything up. But I mean, it is what it is. You still have to really prepare for next season. I think we kind of all thought that this was going to be a wait and see situation, but I'm sure that hug meant a lot. And as a coach, all eyes are on you, because people aren't going to, there's only going to be so long where people say, oh, it's because James Harden's not there. And then there's going to be people like me that says, you're supposed to coach them up. You're supposed to coach them into these winning guys, and you're not. And so there is a point where you start to wonder, like, if everyone's looking at me. But that franchise was entirely built on James Harden. So to take out the foundation of that franchise, of course, everything is going to fall apart. Again, I giggle because I never, and even when I said this at the top of James Harden going to Brooklyn, I never would have said, oh, they're about to lose 20 games. It never would have crossed my mind. So I get the panic. But at the same time, I love to see that at least he and John Wall are starting to build, and hopefully the rest of the team can build together. But in my opinion, I think this is one of those things where everybody's expendable at this moment, even John Wall, because even though I love John and I want him to be a franchise guy somewhere, at some point you just got to look and say, hey, if we got to ship out everybody to build a whole new squad, then that's just what we have to do. I think ultimately he will stay, but everybody is expendable to me right now, except for Coach, because again, I just can't put this on his shoulders because he was thrown into a mess. So except for Coach, everybody's expendable.
Yeah. I think my image is frozen on the screen for some reason, but you can hear me still, right?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up, but you're definitely frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay. Well, let me get into the next update. Let's talk about Kyrie. So yesterday, the Nets announced that Kyrie will not be joining the team on their upcoming 3-game road trip, which means we missed the game against the Trailblazers, Utah Jazz, and the Pistons. And they said he was missing these games due to a family matter, but fans were quick to point out that today is actually Kyrie's birthday, and they can't help wonder if he's taking a couple days off just to celebrate. Now, fans were reacting online and writing things like, I have a couple tweets for you. So, Leo, can you throw those up? Oh, wait. Sorry. Give me 1 second, Jackie. Give me 1 second.
I was gonna say, well, we can look at the tweets. You logged out and in because I don't know what you just said. All right, so now we're just gonna wait. How's everybody doing in the chat? This is like anybody got any weird questions you want to ask me? I see somebody say you LeBron fans are so toxic. I am a LeBron fan and I am not toxic, sir. This must be your first day here, so welcome. She's back. That's good, because I tried to take in on this person calling LeBron fans toxic. Devin just saved your whole chat life.
Okay, let me start from the top here. I want to tell you guys about Kyrie Irving because he is missing the team's upcoming 3-game road trip, which means he won't be suiting up in games against the Trailblazers, the Utah Jazz, and the Pistons. He said it was for a family matter, but fans were quick to point out that today is actually Kyrie's birthday, and they think that he's taking some time off to actually just celebrate. Fans were reacting online. They were writing things like, family matter. Let's get that other tweet up there, Leo. LMAO, this guy's setting such a bad precedent instead of blindly sticking up for him. NBA fans should realize this is not good for the league. There's another tweet coming up. LOL, this is excellent. We are back at it again. This guy is a troll in terms of coaching staff and teammates respect. Another tweet that says, LOL, of course it's his birthday. What a coincidence. But then this final tweet that we're going to show here, this one actually points out, makes a good point. He says, y'all have never used paid time off for your birthday. Now, in his defense, he probably will be seeing his family if he is celebrating his birthday. So family matter isn't exactly a blatant lie or anything. But I think that the reason people are so bitter about this one is because he did miss those 7 games back in January, and then we saw him out at a family birthday party back then, so we know that he does take birthdays pretty seriously. But I don't know. Personally, I feel like if Kyrie wants to take some time off for his birthday, that's his prerogative. If he would like to sit out for a few games, I can't blame him for that. We really, I mean, I'm sure all of us at some point in our lives truly have used paid time off to celebrate a birthday. It's kind of a common thing, and I know that we look at NBA athletes and athletes in general as kind of not really even human. We look at them as just an athlete as opposed to a person first. But I think that if Kyrie wants to, miss a game or 3 games to enjoy his birthday, I can't blame him for that. But I do understand why some people would think that this perpetuates the narrative that the current NBA is getting softer, they're less aggressive, they're less motivated. I can understand why people would think this kind of move would perpetuate that narrative, but I just don't think it's that serious. So Jackie, what is your reaction to this? If Kyrie really is taking this time off to celebrate his birthday, do you think that that is the wrong move for him to make?
No, I think Gen Z is mad. I don't think anybody else is mad because the rest of us know about Dennis Rodman getting time off to go straight up party. Those of you who are Dallas fans, several times Michael Irving was out for an illness when we know it was because he was high. But it didn't matter because when it came time to play, they played. And you allow your star athletes some time off. And I don't know why anyone thinks it's anybody's business except for Kyrie. Y'all need to be glad that he called in and said, hey, I need to take some family time, because on my birthday, usually I just develop a cough. And sometimes my employer has noticed that I always cough on my birthday. Sometimes they have not. But I really don't. I'm not going to try to explain me taking time off to celebrate me or me taking time off to celebrate my family. I think if 2020 has taught us anything, but the amount of people that we lost, people losing people who are very young to an illness that just came out of nowhere, tomorrow is not promised to any of you. So if you want to take time off to celebrate yourself, if you want to take time off to celebrate your family, I applaud you for doing so, because I think those are relationships that are going to last forever. Y'all being mad on Twitter is something that's going to fade by tomorrow. So be mad, and I'm not mad at all. If he took time off, he doesn't have to say, hey, I'm taking time off for my birthday. I'm sure he's going to be with his family, and so a family matter is fine. He doesn't owe any of us an explanation beyond that. So this is a weird Gen Z thing that probably need to go back and rewatch The Last Dance where they talked about players doing this, and then maybe y'all will feel better about the situation. But no, this is fine for me.
Yeah, there was someone in the chat, McAllister Biney, says he's getting paid, he should play ball. If you're on a salary at a job, you're getting paid too. So right. You're allowed to still take time off. In fact, you have available time off days. What were you going to say, Jackie?
Some of y'all are at work right now, supposed to be doing work, but you're in the chat. So what are you saying right now?
For the record, we do appreciate that you're watching us, even if you are at work. Keep doing it. We love it. But yes, that's a very good point. I mean, we all have jobs. Well, most of us have jobs, and we still need to take time off every once in a while. So I'm not mad at Kyrie for this. And I can't help but wonder if it was any other player, or maybe I should say the majority of other players in the NBA taking time off for their birthday, would they receive such harsh criticism? Jackie, do you think that people are more quick to criticize Kyrie because of who Kyrie is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if this was Damian Lillard or something like that, people overwhelmingly love Damian Lillard. So they are probably going to be like, oh, finally, he's taking a day off for himself. Good for him. On the flip side, someone like LeBron James, who's been playing every game at 36, playing way too many minutes, if he hadn't got hurt and he was like, okay, I'm going to take a day off because his birthday's in December, so obviously it wouldn't be him. But if he said, okay, I'm going to take a day off for a family friend's birthday, because I don't think Savannah's birthday. I know way too much about that family, but nobody's birthday is right now. But if he took a day off for a friend's birthday, or maybe because someone in his family was sick or something like that, he would still get flack for it, because they'd be like, oh, this is your king, this is your GOAT, why are you taking time off? People forget that you can take time off. If you work at Burger King, you can take time off. If you work in the NBA, you can take time off. I think people somehow forget this is a job. There is no job in the history of mankind where you don't get time off. And if he wants to take time off this way, he can do it. The difference between him and us is that he can probably afford that day off better than we can. A lot of us, if we don't have enough paid time off, we don't have that luxury. So sometimes we do have to stick to it. But I think, and somebody in the chat, I'm sorry I didn't see who it was, but somebody in the chat said, yeah, but they're winning. And I think that's the key too. If he was taking this time, and I don't even think he would, to be honest. I don't think Kyrie would take his birthday off if they were on a losing streak and he felt like, oh, they absolutely need me right now. Otherwise, they might lose some more games. I just don't think he would do that. So right now is a perfect time. You don't have anything. You don't have anything to lose by taking this time off. If you guys take one L, that actually proves your stock worth. And so I think it's fine. But this is so weird to me. I think people just don't like Kyrie. And the reason why they don't like Kyrie is because some of that is remnant of us LeBron fans. Some of us are still mad at what happened in Cleveland. Some are mad at him saying the earth is flat. There's a lot of different reasons people don't like Kyrie. But at the end of the day, it's still just a job. And if he wants to take time off, I honestly don't see what the big hoopla is about. But okay, I guess people sometimes just need a reason to be mad. So maybe this is what they needed.
I know. I don't understand it either because I just think it's that people are unable to separate the human from the athlete. And, Kyrie, happy birthday, celebrate, enjoy your time off. You guys are winning right now. It's not like these are some pivotal games that are going to make or break the success of the team. I don't know. It's people love to hate on Kyrie, and sometimes it's deserved because Kyrie has done things and said things that are ridiculous, but other times I think that people just find him to be an easy target and they like to be mad. So I don't know. I feel bad that Kyrie's getting so much flack for this because I think he should be able to just enjoy his birthday. Let's move on to the next update here. Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi actually just bought a $17 million home in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of LA, which is actually very close to me and LeBron. He lives kind of close to LeBron, so maybe they'll run into each other at Whole Foods or something one day. I wonder what that would be like. Would it be awkward? Like, would it be just...
that weird laugh.
Yeah. So the house has an infinity pool, a wine cellar, a 10-person movie theater. It's 12,000 square feet. He also actually owns a $7 million penthouse near the Staples Center, which was news to me. I actually didn't know he had that property because the narrative that we've always heard is that he lives in San Diego and he would drive up the 2 hours from San Diego to LA to practice for games, whatever it is. And he would often be late to those practices because that drive can be unpredictable. So we knew the fact that Kawhi lived in San Diego was kind of a point of contention between him and his teammates. So now that he's moved up to LA, he's obviously bought this palatial property, which is going to be different than the penthouse. I don't think he's going to leave a 12,000 square foot house unattended or uninhabited for large stretches of time. That means he's going to be much closer to their practice facility, and it could potentially ease some of the tension that the team has faced. But what do you think that the motivating factor was behind this decision, Jackie? Do you feel like he was possibly pressured into moving back up to LA by the Clippers, or was this a personal decision and he just thought, you know what, the Palisades seems like a nice place to live?
It could be a little bit of both. For those of you who don't live in LA and never have made that drive from San Diego to LA, it is horrible. It is not a fun drive. Sometimes you can leave San Diego and it'll say, oh, it's going to take you 3.5 hours. It ended up taking you 6. So it's just not, that could literally get on your nerves at some point. There's some point where that drive just doesn't seem worth it. And because you can literally be going on 80 miles an hour, then you're at a dead stop and you don't know why. And it's a very, very annoying drive. So you add that onto your teammates kind of complaining about it. It could be a little bit of both. You're tired of hearing your teammates complain and you're tired of the drive. So why not get this beautiful house? Somebody probably told him like, hey, let me let you look at this property. This property is amazing. Let me do this. So it could be a little bit of both. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but I could definitely see him getting tired of that drive and tired of his teammates saying, man, you need to move closer. And moving closer, it's a win-win, for his teammates. One of the things that I always say that I have not seen with the Clippers is their chemistry. And so when you're when you live close by and now you have this big house where you have a theater and stuff in it, you have an infinity pool. Guess what you can do now? Now you can invite your teammates over. Y'all can bond. Y'all can watch movies. Y'all can play games or whatever. Nobody's driving to San Diego just to hang out. That's not really what people are doing. So this gives them an opportunity to build more chemistry. So I think it's a good thing, and it's big enough for. I mean, that house is big enough for everybody's family, all your family, my family, everybody chat in the chat family. But it's still a good place for his family, and we know he's family oriented and he's very private. I think it's just a win-win all the way around. I don't think that's some sinister thing to it. I think he just got tired of the drive and tired of the hearing his teammates gripe about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, now it seems like he's kind of cut out one of the hurdles that he and his team were facing, but do you still feel like there's a lot to fix behind the scenes, or are we going to see an increase in chemistry among the Clippers now that he is living so close and that factor of him having to drive in from San Diego is no longer there?
I don't know, because they should have the chemistry by now. I just, and everybody said that Trez was the problem. Oh, once Trez leaves, everything's going to be rainbows and sunshine. I haven't seen any rainbows and sunshine yet. So I'm just waiting for that moment where we see the Clippers become like they look like they love playing together and they look like they're having a good time and things of that nature. So I don't know. Because you still have the offseason. The offseason is a great time to kind of build that chemistry, hang out with each other. And so when they came back this season, I'll be honest, I thought we were going to see an entirely different Clippers. And then when we did it, then it kind of did make me go, what's going on here? Why is this not working? And now it's like they're not even as good, in my opinion, as they were last season. So there's a lot that I just can't make it make sense. But if Kawhi's here, you got, PG out there, and y'all supposed to be having this grudge and whatnot. Y'all supposed to be leading the West right now, in my opinion. I just don't see what's happening that y'all are not leading the West. I said it before. It's like you got all these weapons in the arsenal and no bullets. What is happening? You guys need to figure out what is going on. If that was a calculated move on behalf of Kawhi, then I think, okay, now we're in trouble, because Kawhi is taking a leadership role, which is definitely what I wanted him to do. And I know I've heard people say he leads by example and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But most of us are verbal. We need to not only see what you're doing, we need you to get in there and take a lead, take charge of the situation. You're the main guy, so you should have the main lead. And so if he made this move calculated, he was like, I'm just going to move to LA. I'm going to start being more involved in my teammates' life. We're going to start hanging out. If he made that calculated move, then that shows a level of leadership that I have not seen from him before. And that's dope, because that means that the whole squad is about to elevate. I've always said that as soon as Kawhi takes that verbal and visual leadership role, they're going to elevate in a way that everybody's going to be like, oh, damn, here we go. Because I think it does all fall on him. So I don't know. I just got to see how this one plays out. But I'm excited if it was a calculated move. We just don't know. But if it was calculated, I'm excited for them.
Yeah, it's weird to even imagine Kawhi taking on that sort of leadership role, because he is so quiet, and he is definitely the type of person that lets his performance on the court do all the talking for him, which in a lot of ways is really cool. But when he is the star player on a team, I think he does need to step up to the plate and be the person that is kind of rallying around his teammates and getting everybody on the same page and hyped up and all of that. So, I don't know that I view this real estate move from him as a sign that he is taking on more of a leadership role. I view it as more, and maybe you do too, Jackie, but I view it as more of him just trying to take away one of the obstacles that they were already facing and that he was facing as an individual. So we'll see what happens with that. But we always talk about how real estate is a big indicator of what an athlete's next move is going to be. And so Kawhi buying this house in LA seems like maybe he is thinking about staying. Now, he does have this for the 2021-2022 season. He has a $36 million player option for next season, which he could decline. I was about to say design. He could decline that given his market value is higher in terms of his salary. So what do you think, Jackie? If the Clippers don't perform this year, is Kawhi out, or is this house purchase a sign that he's in this for the long haul?
Given Kawhi's a California boy, I don't think you can say he's in it for the long haul, because that house can be used at some point, even if it's in the off season. And I think Kawhi has proven to us that he's that guy, that he's going to go where it makes sense. So if the Clippers don't start making sense really quickly, I don't think that this house means anything. I know we always say that on this show, that real estate means something. I think it means something if that's not where you're from. Now, granted, he would rather be in San Diego, but that's a dope house, and you have enough money to have a house in 2 locations. So this specific purchase to me does not mean that he is here mentally for the long haul. I think for him, it could literally be, let me overcome this obstacle, because I know I can sell this house. If it doesn't work out, that's not going to be an issue. Even if I have to take a little bit of a loss on it, so be it. But let me get this house now. And if this doesn't constitute us getting over this hurdle, if y'all don't start shutting up, if y'all don't start going out there and performing, and all of a sudden we don't have this whole battle that I think we should have, then now you guys probably need to worry about at the end of the season. But since he has these California ties, I don't think having a house in LA means that he's here mentally for the long haul. It's just, and he doesn't give us any kind of indication. He doesn't talk, so we kind of just have to guess. So this house to me doesn't say, hey, I'm here forever. It just doesn't say that to me.
Me either, which is so interesting, because I think in most other situations we would say, oh yeah, I feel like this is a sign that he's staying. But no, with Kawhi, I think Kawhi really has his eyes on another championship win. And if it doesn't happen this year with the Clippers, which it doesn't look like it's going to, I think that he definitely could be looking for something else. But that wraps up Need to Know News, you guys. So Jackie, will you take us into the post up?
Yes, let's get into this post up. This first one, guys, I don't know what happened. I just wanted to let you guys know that what you're about to see is a group of professionals. And I don't even want to build it up more than that, because I need you guys to take a look and then head to the chat and tell me, what did we just watch? So take a look.
With different personnel, that is not easy. There's a steal and a takeaway and a miss.
I'm trying to understand how old boy ended up on the floor. First of all, I didn't even see. Can we watch it one more time? Did I miss a? How did you end up on the floor? Like, there's nobody.
Yeah, there was no one around.
There's no one around, and just one more time for prosperity. Like, let me just, bam, I'm just gonna fall, and then okay, now I'm gonna go get it. Oh no, I missed it. Oh, I'm gonna miss it too. So don't worry about it. I'm gonna go this way. That is like, all you need is that music, that circus music that plays when something silly happens. I watched that. I couldn't tell what happened. So I went to the chat and I was like, let me go to Twitter and see what people are saying. And you guys are still so on this women are not as good as men trip. And when I tell you, I'm only grabbing this one because there were so many comments like this. It says, why guys are worse than women. And then this guy says, but he grabbed the rim at least. So why does this moment in time constitute, let me use this time to shade some women? Y'all got me so messed up. And the thing is, I literally looked for somebody to come at this dude and be like, no, this is inappropriate. Everybody just took a little bit further on shading women. Devin, how does that nonsense constitute, let me talk bad about women? So now I just have too many questions. What the hell just happened on the floor? And how does this mean talk bad about women? What's going on?
Because sometimes guys are idiots, and even though what we're seeing is men just completely messing up on the court, they still have to find a way to insult women. Let's focus on what's happening here. This was like the biggest fumble, that men are doing. There's no woman even nearby, so this is stupid. People are just annoying. I want to say to those guys, be more like Kobe. We all idolized Kobe for the way he uplifted women. Why do men still think it's cool to hate on women? It's dumb. So I don't know. I have no answers.
It was pathetic. Y'all hurt my heart on that one, because I went to the comments to see some funny comments, and that's what the majority of those comments were. It was really sad. But a lot of you guys are here for this next one, and so I really want to take a minute to kind of break this down, because my assessment of the situation is that KD is an egomaniac, because I think this whole thing did not go down quite the way that he perceived it in his mind. He just saw a quote and got the screen grab and then commented on that. So let me show you this tweet. And then so there was an interview that Steve Kerr did with Logan. And he was talking about the difference between last season and whatnot. So he said he enjoyed last season when the Warriors went 15-50 more than Kevin Durant's final season with the Warriors. He said the last year was tough. There was a lot going on, some that you know about and some that you don't. That was very difficult. So the thing is, though, he didn't say specifically that he enjoyed that season better than Kevin Durant's season. All he said was, that season before was very difficult. And then, of course, Kevin Durant chimed in with, this is hilarious. And that's just one of those sarcastic moments to say, I see you talking stuff about me or whatever. But I don't think that was necessarily the case. So Steve Kerr even felt it was enough to kind of address the situation. So in a post-game interview, without anybody even asking him about it, he decided to address the situation and say it was taken out of context. So let's take a look.
The second thing I wanted to bring up is Raymond alerted me to something. I did a podcast a few nights ago with Logan Murdoch, and I mentioned during the podcast that last season, in which we had the worst record in the league, was more enjoyable from a coaching standpoint than the previous season when we lost in the finals. And the context was basically that after the 5-year run that we were on, that 5th year was just an absolute bear. It was the stress level, 2 season-ending injuries during the finals. DeMarcus also had a serious injury that took him out of the playoffs for 6 weeks. We had all kinds of stress. The whole point of the conversation was the stress of the 5-year run compared to coaching a team of young guys that doesn't win many games, but is eager to learn. And I made the comment sort of offhanded that last year was more enjoyable than that previous season. And that was it. That was my comment. Drew Schiller decided to tweet today that Steve Kerr said he enjoyed last season more than Kevin Durant's last year with the Warriors. Okay. So I want to make this extremely clear. If you want to actually get the story accurate, I encourage you to listen to the podcast before we sort of take this story into offshoots and use that as my quote, because that is the furthest thing from the truth. It was a terribly unfair shot, completely taking something out of context to the point where people are going to read it and think that was my quote.
Right.
And you guys have all been very fair to me over the years.
This is one of those things where you just kind of have to give Steve Kerr credit on this one, because he could have literally blown this off and said, this is just KD being KD. This is KD thinking everything is about him. Literally, he could have gone back, and that's what I would have done. I mean, if it was about me, and especially if I had an opportunity to work with Steve Kerr and I know his character, which I think we get a really good glimpse about it, because the man seems to be perpetually honest. Like, he's always honest, almost to a default sometimes. So if this is the person that I got to spend some time with, and then I see this quote, I don't understand why if I felt personally attacked, I wouldn't go listen to the podcast in its entirety, especially KD, who's king of burner accounts, and he knows that people can kind of manipulate words if they want to. And so I don't understand why he took this moment to just say, oh, that's hilarious, which we all read it as what it was. It was a way to kind of jab Steve Kerr and not actually go and listen to it. And I saw John in the chat. He said he should have called Steve Kerr before saying anything. I agree with that. I don't think he said anything that horrible, but he said enough that drew all this media attention to the point where even without being asked about it, Steve Kerr had to address it. So, Devin, I want to go to you. Do you think that this is very much the high road for Steve Kerr, or do you think, because I probably would have been rolled my eyes and been like, oh, I'm not even going to address this because this is just KD being KD. Which approach is better, addressing it or just letting it be?
I think addressing it was the right move for Steve Kerr. I actually really admired the way he handled it, because when I first saw that tweet, I had the same reaction that KD did. Not like, oh, that's hilarious, but I kind of thought like, damn, that's a little bit harsh. So I think that it was really smart and wise for Steve Kerr to come out there and clear the air, because we know coaches, athletes, everybody is misquoted and misrepresented in the media all the time, because they, media outlets are constantly looking for the thing that's going to generate the most clicks, the most views, whatever. So of course they're going to take a quote like that and try and spin it to make it seem like Steve Kerr was throwing shade at KD. And I think that he did absolutely the right thing by calling out the reporter who did that, or the writer who did that. And, or I guess it was on a podcast, but, calling out the person who did try to manipulate the quote to make it seem like he was, throwing shade at KD, and he cleared the air. And I think that was absolutely the right move.
Yeah. Doug in the chat thinks the same thing. He said they had, where did you go? I think he had to address it because he didn't want the narrative out there that it had anything to do with KD. And, I applaud you, Doug, and I applaud you, Devin, because I'm just not that person. Like, go listen to the damn podcast. I said what I said. I don't want to be out here defending myself when the truth is out there. If y'all watch X-Files, that's a whole reference there. But the truth is literally out there, and it can go. Maybe I would have taken a clip from the podcast and posted it, but then I get what you're saying. People could say the same thing, like, oh, that's just a clip. What else was said outside of that? So, yeah, this Logan guy, you're not a good dude, man, because I think... And I know a lot of media companies do that. Y'all say it's clickbait when we do it, but our clickbait is just more of like, let's get your attention. We don't just flat out say something was said that wasn't actually said at all. So this is one of those things where I think Logan is extremely wrong. Shouts out to Steve Kerr though, because I definitely think he took the high road on this one and addressed it in the way that he was addressed. I know somebody in the chat said, KD should have called him. But shouts out to him. So since KD didn't, and he wanted to address it in the media, I'm going to address it in this post game. So shouts out to him for that. I thought that was great. But let's move on to this next one, because again, I started off this post up kind of mad because the fellas was out here taking unnecessary shots at the ladies. And I literally was going through this post up kind of in my feelings, kind of mad. But thankfully, our producer was like, let me put this right about here, because Jackie going to be mad right about here. And she was right. So the Spurs took a moment. Bleacher Report posted this, where they're all out here giving shouts out to WNBA legends, you guys. And so from Colorado State, we got Cheryl Miller, and then we got Rebecca Lobo. I'm sorry, Becky Hammond went to Colorado State, I think. Yeah, Becky Hammond went to Colorado State, Cheryl Miller, and then Rebecca Lobo. So let me just show you their jerseys. Yeah. It's right there on the jersey. Colorado State, that's my home state, y'all. So shouts out. And so then, of course, we got Cheryl Miller and then Rebecca Lobo. And I just want to take this moment to say thank you so much to you guys for doing this, because like I said, I don't know what has been triggered. I don't know if it's because the NCAA made a point to let everybody know that they were not being treated, not even equally, just fairly. It was just terrible. The men bashing and the women bashing that I've seen from men online is just crazy. So I'm just going to leave it at that and say thank you so much for taking this unprovoked, just nobody asked you to do it. You just did it on your own to give some shout out to some women, some legends at that. So thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you. But let me go to this next one, because this is going to be another one that warrants a conversation, because y'all need to listen to / watch that I Am an Athlete podcast. But I'm just going to set the narrative up for you a little bit, because Channing Crowder asked Dwyane Wade straight up, why did you leave Miami? And I know, if you guys know, maybe you don't know, but I know why he left Miami. And I know what he was trying to bait him into, and he's trying to get him to say it. So let me just show you how that kind of worked out. Take a look.
Why would you leave Miami, and I don't want to say fault, but we know Pat and we know the money. And to be honest, I'm down here, I do radio. I know they prioritize Hassan Whiteside's $98 million deal over your deal, $47 million in Chicago. I want to get into it, D.
Get into it, baby.
Why did you leave Miami? You want another one? You want another one? Why did you leave Miami? And
I'm saying you and your Barbara Walters.
So That was the question. I love Dwyane Wade's whole look. Like, let me just hold on tightly to my cup and see if I can avoid this, because he didn't want to answer it. I think, who followed that situation, we knew what the answer should be. And I think he was just trying to bait it out of him. But I got to give it to Fred Taylor, because Fred Taylor basically said, well, if you ain't going to tell him, Dwyane, I'm going to tell him, because that's exactly what he did. Take a look at this next piece.
Out of everybody, should have been taken care of first.
Yeah, they made a mistake because he ain't done since.
Should have been taken care of. And I'm not saying nothing about anybody else.
I know, but I'm going to say
Feel me?
it. I'm going to say it. He ain't done a thing
I ain't
since.
worried about him, but it was more so this
That's
happened
true.
more than one summer. This was over multiple summers. I didn't just leave because my feelings was hurt because of one summer I didn't get paid.
Okay, so I'm assuming y'all are out here on the LeBron James bestie train like I am, and you just know exactly what happened. So y'all know Dwyane Wade is Miami. That's who he is. That's why he went back and retired there. But there was a moment in time where I think he was gone. It wasn't even a full season, but he was gone for a while. And the reason for that is because they chose to pay Hassan Whiteside instead of him. And he took that personally, because he felt, I am Miami. I am the Heat. If anybody should get paid, it should be me. But he didn't really say a lot. We didn't hear about it too much. We all knew what was going on. He just bounced. And then of course he ended up coming back. But I love that he's saying it right now. He's saying, if anybody should have been prioritized, it should have been me. And I shouts out again for Fred Taylor to saying, yeah, and look what that amounted to. It didn't amount to much. So if y'all didn't know what was going on, let me just say that. But I do think he didn't really want to say it. But then once Fred was like, I'm gonna say it, then Dwyane felt a little bit more comfortable. But Devin, what do you think about how Dwyane handled this situation? Do you think that he definitely didn't seem to want to speak about it, but once it was out there, then he seemed a little bit more comfortable? What do you think about that clip?
I mean, you can tell that he was kind of squirming under that spotlight a little bit. Like, yeah, it was very clear that he didn't really want to dig into that. But I think once it was just all put out there so clearly, I mean, what choice do you have at that point? He felt a little bit more validated in speaking out about it. But yeah, I thought the whole interaction was funny.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know, the universal sign of, oh my God, I don't want to talk about it, is when somebody picks up their glass and just moves slowly. That's the universal sign for, I don't want to talk about this. So, yeah, glad I could help. But let's move on to this next one, because it is impossible to not love. Well, let me take that back, because there was that time that he was out there in that whole ice pool. Didn't like that. But aside from that moment in time, the Watt family, they're just adorable. And I love that TJ took this moment to wish his brother a happy birthday with this picture, because they both look so handsome in this picture. So TJ says, happy birthday, broski. And then, of course, he tags JJ Watt in it. And I love this picture. I also love it for another reason, because this gave JJ Watt an opportunity to keep it 100. And so he responds to said tweet and says, you literally just tried to dump water on my head in real life. Stop acting different on social. I love this kind of brotherly love. And first of all, again, shouts out to that picture, because they's killing them suits. Those suits was perfect. Shouts out to the Watt brothers. I love this moment in time. But I'm gonna move on to this next one, because if you guys don't remember, I'm sure a lot of you do, because it was big talk. But Saquon Barkley, he got hurt. I think it was the second week 2, and he was hurt, injured his ACL, and he's been recovering since this time. Now we know that Odell had a similar injury, and Devin and I winced when we saw him on that treadmill, literally pushing himself so hard to come back at full speed and all of that. And there was that moment in time where I thought maybe this is too much, but Barkley is not taking this kind of approach. So take a look at his training. It's very, obviously this is that strengthening, and you need your core to stay balanced and things of that nature. So he's doing, some balance training, and it's not vigorous at all, but he kind of shows us what he's doing on his day-to-day to kind of train and come back from this ACL, which also includes some lunges. Obviously, stretching is very, very important when you come back from any injury. Let me just say that differently, because you need to stretch every day for other reasons. But obviously, when you're coming back from an injury, you want to make sure you stay fluid. You don't want to be tight. So I appreciate his workout. But in comparison to Odell, this is not it. And to me, I'm not shaming. I'm just saying it looked like he done put on a couple pounds, like a lot of couple. Like so, he's definitely not doing the Odell where he's physically fit and staying very fit at all times. He looks like he's packed on some weight. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Let me just show you this tweet because I think I'm thankful for this tweet and I'm thankful for the person who commented on it because I was like, okay, that's right. So he says, is it just me or does he look kind of fat? I said, put on some pounds. I said it politically correctly. This person said, no, you're right. He is fat, but that's because he's been eating the same calories with less working out since he's coming back from an injury. He'll shed it all by the beginning of the season and build back that muscle. Are you sure? Because Odell has been doing the workout to build the muscle and keep the muscles, muscle memory good. And so now he's got a much shorter walk to get to physically fit. So I don't know. I don't know if I think that, Saquon's going to come back. I don't know. But good luck because, we definitely need to see you back. I'm sure the Giants want to see you back 100% healthy. So good luck to you. I'm not a fan of that workout, but good luck to you. But now let's move on to this one because I don't know if you guys heard this, but for the longest, after the last Tyson fight, we all started hearing that, we're going to see the Mike Tyson and Vander Holyfield fight. And that has been in the rumblings for a long time. And it was supposed to unofficially happen on Memorial Day weekend. And I've been seeing headlines for that, what it would look like, the cost for it. But then here's the timeline. Mike Tyson posted this to his Instagram, which lets me know something went drastically awry because he said, just to be clear, there is no Tyson with Thriller fight. So Thriller is the organization that was going to put on the fight. I don't know any Thriller executives personally. I don't have a deal with Thriller or any head executive representing them for the next event. I am a partner in Legends Only League, and that's where the older gentleman who used to fight, that's their league. So, and my next event is with my league. I will never do another event or any business with Thriller. So anyone misrepresenting that they own the rights to my name or my next event, it isn't true. I am not forever with Thriller's Fight Club. So I think when you take a moment to call out an organization specifically like that, something went wrong in the negotiations. So then, of course, we see this tweet that came out that basically confirmed that. It says, Evander Holyfield's representative said Mike Tyson rejected a $25 million guarantee for a third fight Memorial Day weekend in Miami. $25 million. I just don't see me turning that down because, they old. They just going to run around and be slow and nobody's going to get hit really hard. For $25 million, I am in. But Holyfield, his representative said, we thought this was a done deal, but it quickly fell apart when Tyson's people declined all offers. That's what Holyfield's manager said. His name is Chris Lawrence. He says, we were negotiating in good faith all along that it appeared that things were good and we just ended up wasting our time. So not sure what happened, but I do believe from this tweet, there's clearly a backstory. I just don't know what it is, but I am kind of disappointed because old or not, slow or not, I would have loved to see that fight. So maybe they can get them, since he doesn't want to do Thriller, maybe he can get him onto the Legends League. I don't know, but good luck because I definitely want to see that fight. But let's move on to this last one because I'm just going to let my fandom show a little bit because I got to admit, when my producer first sent me this, I was a little upset. I was like, why did she say LeBron James? It is LeBron. But I was like, okay, it's a typo. Let me move on. But then I saw it in the rundown and I was like, okay, she got one more time to spell my king's name wrong like this. What is happening? But then I went to Twitter and I saw this because I was going to get in Twitter jail. I was like, I don't know who's out here slandering my boy like this, but I am a fan of LeBron James. Y'all take a look. This is genius. It's the boots for me, though. I'm going to wear these redneck boots for me. I cannot. I am such a fan of this.
I feel like I'm watching a video from like I don't know what the time period is, but before we had electricity. You know what I mean?
Wait, would we have had basketballs before we had electricity?
Who knows? But just the way that whole thing looks, and it's just such a, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like something that would have been in existence before we had electricity.
That is hilarious. I watched that over and over and over again. And it could, you're right, it could be a little bit better. Another fan pointed that out on Twitter, and he was like, oh, no, he needs to do this better. He says, that's kind of cool, but he can never he can never do a layup again because the contraption takes up so much room under the net. Also, he has to pull the rope when he wants the next ball. A much better idea is to have it automatically toss the ball out whenever the ball falls into the net. Okay, that's all well and good, but let me see you build a contraption like that. Don't be out here Debbie Downer and you can't even build it like that. So I agree, though. Maybe some electricity, as Devin said, come up out of the dark ages, get some light, some electricity, some battery-operated contraption, and that would be okay. But I'm all right. LeBron, I can't even say it right. LeBron James is okay with me. But that's all I got for the post-up. I'm going to really quickly get into this what we not going to do situation because we've talked a lot about Russell Wilson and is he going to stay with Seattle? Is he going to go? And we saw, of course, that Seattle shaded him a little bit when they sent out that letter to season ticket holders, but they did not include his name on that. And I thought that was very unnecessary. Aside from that, though, we haven't really heard anything from Russell's camp and we haven't heard anything from Seahawks camp. And we've just seen a lot of rumors and headlines about what could possibly happen. But I think for the first time, we're seeing that there is a little bit of hope for Seahawks fans that Russell definitely wants to stay. I think we always knew he wanted to stay, but now he's being a little bit more vocal about it. So if you don't remember, last season, before Antonio Brown signed with Tampa Bay, he said that he wanted Antonio Brown with the Seahawks. And I'm just going to read the quote that he said at that time. He says, I think that with our culture and how our culture is with Pete Carroll, with the teammates that we have, the men that we have, and the growth, I think if he does play football, I think this is a great place. If he does play again, I think this is a place he will grow a lot as a man as well. So he's kind of revisited that. And he says that he would love Antonio Brown to come to the Seahawks. He thinks that would be great. Antonio Brown actually posted this, and I'm just showing this because I actually love this video. If you want to see it, go to his Instagram, and I'm just going to read you the quote that he has along with this video. And this is why I kind of want him to say in Tampa Bay. He says, you cannot let any one moment in time define your life or who you are. As I've grown older, I'd like to believe I've also become wiser and more appreciative of each and every moment in my life. I have continued to learn through different dynamic experiences and situations. No, I'm not perfect. And yes, I've made mistakes. And although some may want me to dwell on the negative, I continue to challenge myself to move forward, grow, and be better. That's all I can do in this moment in time. I will continue my journey and treat each moment as just a chapter and progression until my journey is no more. Hashtag call God, hashtag booming. So I think we all can agree that Antonio Brown has definitely grown as a human being. Of course, he's at this moment in time where he's not the wide receiver that he used to be. And I think we all kind of expected him to dwell on that and demand the ball, something similar that we saw when he was with Pittsburgh. But he not only was the number 3 wide receiver in Tampa Bay, he embraced it and was very grateful for that moment in time. And I even gave Tom Brady flack for bringing Antonio Brown into his house. And I was like, oh, he's only doing this to make sure, he can be a viable receiver for him. I almost don't even care if that was true or not. The truth of the matter is that whole moment, that whole time in Tampa Bay, Antonio Brown has grown as a person and as a human being, and dare I say as a father probably, because we just see a happier, mentally healthier Antonio Brown. And I applaud Tom Brady for that because I definitely think he took a risk. And we know that right now Antonio Brown is a free agent, but he did say that he and Leonard Fournette are definitely coming back. I don't know if that's true or not. We all know Tom Brady can speak a word and make it happen. But if I had to pick between Seattle and Tampa Bay for Antonio Brown, I would probably pick Tampa Bay just because we've seen the mental growth in Antonio Brown in this time. And if he can stay on this mental journey of healing, I definitely want him to stay in that situation. I'm not saying that he can't get that in Seattle. I'm just saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And I don't know. I don't think Antonio Brown can move into Russell Wilson's house. Maybe future Sierra might have let that happen. But this whole Russ and the relationship goals they got going on, I don't think they're letting Antonio Brown move in. And I don't know where he's at in his mental journey, where if that's even still necessary, but I just don't want him to fail. I don't want him to falter. So if this is what Russell needs to stay in Seattle, I don't know. I feel like you got to find something else. I feel like you got to mend that bridge between he and Pete Carroll and just see where it would go. I do think that if Antonio Brown did go over there, joining him with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett would be a dope look. And then AB would be your third. I think that is great. But if Russell Wilson wants to build a better offense, then there's other even right now currently good, maybe not even third assets that you could go out and get. So I just say build in the way that makes Russell comfortable and let AB stay in a place where he's mentally growing. So what we're not going to do is mess up a mentally healthy Antonio Brown unless you know for sure you can provide him with the things that he got in Tampa Bay that made him the person that we see right now. Because we're not going to derail my boy. My boy is out here doing good. He's happy. He's healthy. We need to keep that going. So what we're not going to do is mess that up. I'm sorry, Russell. I want you to succeed, but not at the expense of Antonio Brown. So, Devin, what do you think? Do you think this is a situation now that we're seeing what seems to be a mentally healthy Antonio Brown? Do you think he should risk that and go somewhere else? I mean, I know it's not up to him because he's a free agent right now, but if it was, where would you advise him to go?
I think that staying in Tampa Bay is the best option for him as well, especially because going from Tampa Bay to Seattle is going to be such a big change. It's going to be a huge leap for him. And I do think that considering his history, going through a big change like that is probably going to set him off kilter. And I feel like if he is successful right now in Tampa Bay, if he's able to kind of maintain that, solid mental health, then he should absolutely stay. So even though it would be nice to see Russell Wilson have somebody like Antonio Brown with him, I think that it's not worth it at this point. You would just be disrupting something that's going really well for him right now. So I do feel the same way that you do. But yeah, it's interesting because then, what's going to happen with Russell Wilson? We want him to succeed as well.
And the thing is there's so many, I don't want to say so many other options, but there's other ways that you can, first and foremost, you have to repair the relationship between him and Pete Carroll. That's first and foremost. And then once that relationship is repaired, then you two can sit down and have conversations together and build from there. So I think that is the first thing they need to do. And then after that, the sky is the limit. But right now you have to repair that relationship between Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll and then see what goes from there. But I love this Antonio Brown that we have, and he's out here being sane and happy, and whatever we need to do to keep that energy is what I want to do. So congratulations to AB for us talking about you in a positive way, because for the longest it has not been that way, and I would love to see him maintain that. So yes, that's all we got for what we're not going to do.
Me too, Jackie. I agree with you on that one. We like a happy Antonio Brown, so let's keep it that way. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to wrap up the show for the day. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as usual. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, and of course, hit that thumbs up button. Thanks so much for tuning in and for chiming in the chat. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.